wanna get high, man?
Let's stimulate your mind.
Get up, Chucky! What have we got here? A fucking comedian.
Rojan Kim?
Hello, and welcome to the Rojan Kim cast. It's me, Rojan Kim. Thank you so much for listening to me and my voice. Well, I don't know. Here we are. Pandemic. I hear all the things we should probably stop talking about, or we haven't stopped talking about forever. Trump. Pandemic. I don't know. I guess now it's the Supreme Court. The global war on terror ending. The drug war ending. Armenia. Aren't you just tired of all the talk about Armenia? Just Armenia this, Armenia that. Armenia is, I guess, under attack. I don't know anything about it. I'm probably going to offend a lot of people. People are like, Armenia, you don't know anything about Armenia, bro. You don't know anything in fucking... Well, I mean, I know that there was a genocide. Is that's taking a position, right? I'm gonna come out and say it, okay? It was a genocide, all right? I don't care what all these fucking Turks say. The Turks, every Turk I've met has been like, well, there was a war. So I think that, so I feel like the dominant, so far. I mean, I've met a lot of Turks and cool ones. Fucking what? Oh, one or a couple. I think some of them have said, yeah, it's a genocide, but on the whole, a lot of them are like, well, it was a war. So I don't know. I mean, maybe they know better, but is that like the Nazis telling me that it was, the Holocaust was because of a war? You know, that wasn't like a pogrom or a genocidal, like, you know, like a genocide of the civilian population. It was actually war. That, I mean, I guess in that way, you could say the Native American genocide was war, right? Well, it's either us or them, so I guess, you know, that's the way it goes. Which is sort of the argument everybody has about, like, well, every civilization has conquered another civilization, right? And it's true. I mean, you can't really argue with that. Like, that is conquest, violence. That is the history of humanity. War, you know, that's most of the history of humanity. And my contention is that at the dawn of man, even when we were cavemen, we had a tendency towards both competition and cooperation. You know, I think it's both. We're both chimp and bonobo. You know what I mean? We're both fucking murderous monkeys and also fuck monkeys, you know? And that's us. Then we just kind of got more hairless and smarter and started talking and stuff. And the talking is really what got us into trouble, right? Because the talking is what gets me into trouble. I'll tell you what. Sure does. Whew. So, I don't know. I have this weird thing where I'm like, am I going to talk about politics again? Because everybody's talking about politics. Like, what, dude, what am I possibly adding to the fucking cacophony of noise that is out there on social media, on the television, on every, you know, what could I possibly have to offer? But then, on the other hand, I'm like, well, what do these motherfuckers have to offer? Most of the people in the mainstream media or whatever, they're not really offering anything except what I feel like are corporate talking points from one interest or another. It's either military industrial complex or tech or Washington. I don't know, whoever. But it's a very it's corporate. And by definition, corporate is lame. You know, that's just, in a way, it's sort of like how we got through all these times from way back in human history when it started, you know, like how we got through all this stuff, right? There was competition, there was cooperation, and ultimately large form cooperation is what won out, because then you could even use large form cooperation to compete with other larger groups, right? That's war in effect. And, you know, and the corporation is sort of the most boring form of organization, where it's like, we're not going to kill anybody, at least not on purpose. I mean, if it's in the name of making profit, then okay, we'll just have to do the calculations of how much it costs to be sued. But other than that, you know, it's just for making money. It's not making things to make money. It's kind of boring. I mean, it's lame. It's like the lamest. It's not like, not to say it's like not important. We don't need it. I mean, you know, trust me, I rejected money when I was a kid because of my dad. Right? Because my dad was all about money and not about me at all. So I was like, fuck money. Money sucks. I I could have been a straight up commie. I mean, I was this close to becoming one. Just because my dad was like a Reagan Republican, I was like, well, fuck it, I'm a Democrat, you know? Like I'm a Democrat. I liked Clinton. Well, I was surrounded by teachers who told, my favorite teacher, Mr. Schaefer, even said, Clinton is a genius. And in retrospect, I mean, the man is a genius because he fucking leveraged moving crack through Arkansas into becoming president of the United States, turning around and jailing all those black people who got him into, obviously fucking created a crime bill. It's brilliant. And that won him the right, essentially pushing the Democrat Party to the right. That got him all the Wall Street Republican dudes plus law enforcement's on his side. Of course, and then he ends up creating the Clinton Global Initiative. The whole time he's palling around with Epstein. I mean, who even knows what's going on? The man, it's brilliant. The man is brilliant, but it's just crazy. I mean, it's not like the Leonardo da Vinci type brilliance, I suppose. Or maybe he could have been a beautiful saxophone player. You know what I mean? He left to his own devices. He might have been just fucking his kid cousin and playing the saxophone instead of flying around all over the world and having sex with countless children, or probably not. I feel like he was into thick bitches. You know what I mean? Clinton looks like he'd be like, ew, gross. Ew, get this kid away from me. Ew, Epstein, you like him this young? Shit. I feel like I like him titties. I like titties. I like ass. I like, because he was, the joke is that Clinton was like the first black president. And in a way he was. He was a huge crack dealer and he loves fat white women. You know what I mean? So, yeah. I guess. But that, of course, is, racist to say. Is that? I don't know. It's all very confusing. Thank God I'm Asian. I mean, they are trying to push Asians into the Nazi camp. They're trying to sell the Asians are Nazis thing. And honestly, Asians are not making it that hard. Asians, first of all, of course, the Japs sided with the Nazis, so that's kind of but then you get into the conundrum of like, oh, you can't tell the Asians apart. Because Japan conquered Korea and China, you know what I mean? Like they fucking fucked all the Asians up, and you're saying there's no difference between any of them. You're the Nazi, that kind of backfires. That's kind of shit. If you take the posture of being like I'm sensitive, to racial stuff, then it's a boomerang that'll just hit right back at you, right? It'll come right back at you, That's why I don't know. I just don't buy this whole strain of anti-racism, implicit bias, and you know what? Trust me. I went to Berkeley in the 90s. I was indoctrinated. I mean, that stuff, besides Columbia, Berkeley is probably one of the other places where that shit, the gender studies, the race study, the whatever, blank, Asian American studies, African American, there's like every single parceled out thing. And then what's hilarious, in a crazy Republican turn of the state in 96, they actually repealed affirmative action. They put in 209, Prop 209. They passed 209, which says you can't discriminate based on race or gender or sex or whatever the fuck anymore. Eliminating affirmative action. They also eliminated the UCs, eliminated all the gender studies and the ethnic studies. No, I think just the ethnic studies. Kept gender studies. Should have been the other way around. I really think it should have been the other way around. I think gender studies has done more to destroy this nation than ethnic studies could have. They're really fucked up there. But I remember all these kids, the third world something or other. They're a bunch of fucking proto-Antifas, proto-Occupy Wall Streets, proto-Antifas. And I could have been one of them, mostly because of the chicks. But honestly, I couldn't keep it up. This is too lazy. I think I was just too lazy to really, man, I had a fucking roommate. I called him Fuzzy Dave because he was like a fuzzy little hippie motherfucker, and he was just a womanizer. He just fucks everything, and I'd just come in and his fucking dick would be out. He'd just be like sleeping with his dick out, and probably and a bitch, some bitch in the bed. Wake up to him some fucking, because we were in a single room that we shared in the co-ops in the basement of Le Chateau at Berkeley, and he's fucking some chick, and it's like, what? And I just watched them. I mean, I don't know. There's nothing I could do. What else could I do? I'm like an 18, 19-year-old kid, and some dude, there's real life porn going on in front of me. I didn't start jerking it or nothing, because then I thought, I'd ruin the moment. I don't like to ruin the moment, Like one time I was at a mic in New York and we're hanging out in the back smoking weed, and a couple of girls just start fucking making out, and this dude and my buddy, I guess I don't know if I call him acquaintance, comic. This is D. This dude D. Oh, I had him on the fucking podcast. So let's say friend D. Okay, D Marie just starts going, God damn, and then the girls, they got all fucking self-conscious, and I was like, D, what the fuck? You should just, why couldn't you, if you left them alone, one of them could have started fingering the other one, you know what I'm saying? Like, you fucking moron, but that is, of course, men, the testosterone, it takes over, and you're like, you can't. That's why men do need order. You know what I mean? That's why war, maybe that's one of the organizing factors behind what to do with this toxic masculinity. How do we direct it? Though it is still my contention that women are the inventors of war. Probably. This doesn't get a lot of laughs when I try this out on stage, at least when there's women. When there's no women, it does really well. But it's... Look, I think men are inherently violent, okay? That's just sort of what we're built for. It's obvious. We've evolved to punch each other in the skulls or some shit, that's like a thing. But women, I think, are the ones who convinced us to take it to a conceptual level. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. And maybe that's just me being sexist against men. I don't think we're smart enough. Men are dumb, women are crazy. This is the whole thing. So I feel like, like a man, if he's slighted, he'll go and he might kill the guy. He might just fucking murder the guy and kill him, right? But I think his woman will be like, no, now you have to kill the rest of his family. And he's like, what? Like, it's a fucking escalation to like symbolically murdering everybody involved, not just the one dude, 'Cause I think men are very like linear, you know what I mean? Like, it's like a hunting thing. Not trying to kill all the deer. You're trying to kill all the deer. You're just trying to kill one deer, the one deer that you're going to eat. Not all the deer. You know what I mean? Just like, I don't know. I mean, what do I know? I mean, in some ways, I guess men are also programmed to try to fuck all the women. I mean, if we were just base animals, we would probably try, I think. I don't know. I guess the jury's out on that because we might be monogamy based. We might be polygamy based. I mean, we might have harem. I mean, there's probably a lot of variation, right? This is what, of course, they would say in the gender studies program at Berkeley. But here I am. I don't know. Okay, I'm avoiding the politics. I'm avoiding news. I'm avoiding, let's see. I don't want to talk too much about the Supreme Court thing, except that the lady seems pretty smart, so that's fucking up all the senators. Senators are dumb. And Coney Barrett seems smart. And I know everybody's like, she's going to do this, she's going to do that. Just like, okay. But this is every judge. Every judge. This is a person. Is a human being who has opinions. But then when they go and become a judge, they're not there to become a fucking opinion person. They're supposed to be a judge. And we're supposed to trust that. Otherwise, the whole thing, fucking throw the whole judicial system out. What's the point of having a Supreme Court then? Right? You know what I mean? There's 9 of them. So even if she thinks one thing, there's fucking 8 others. Okay? Anyways, I don't know. I just think it's so dumb, this whole, like, it's just obvious politicking. It's fucking dumb. I think there's, like, an emotional double standard thing where they keep trying to get some kind of emotional reaction out of her. It might as well just be like, you bitch, you racist whore, bitch, you lying bitch, you don't need to care about your kids. You just got those kids because they're fucking tokens. Didn't you, you white bitch? Like, I just feel... It's almost like that Bill Burr monologue was to set us up for Coney Barrett. You know what I mean? The Bill Burr monologue was to take white ladies down a peg because they, the powers that be knew were going to put her in. You know what I mean? So this whole thing is just a big old spectacle. Just a big old sideshow. Meanwhile, do you have health care? No, I don't have health care. I do you? I mean, honestly, I was paying a tax because I didn't have health care for a while till the fucking bad man came in and took that away. It saved me money. So I don't know. The bad guy saved me money and gave me a $1,200 check. But he's still a bad guy. He's still murdering people overseas. You know what I mean? He's still head of this fucking machine it's a war machine. It's a prison machine. You know what I mean? It's a disinformation machine, and that's not like he made it. You can't give the guy that much credit. Like, he just took over, and the only reason it got voted in is because the fucking stewards of it, the both sides of the two parties, fucking failed us. So people were like, all right, we're gonna vote this fucker in, And of course, people are like, no, that's not why. It's because of the Nazis. That's it's because of that. And now I'm one. Rojan has been radicalized by the alt-right. Now he's alt-right banana. Alt-right banana. It's one of my older episodes. You can find that. Go down in the Spotify or whatever. Go to my website, rojankim.com. You could donate some Bitcoin to me at the address 01X34B93834A213. I said 3. There's a lot of 3. I got to change this address. There's a goddamn shitload of 3s. All right. Anyways. Barrett. It just seems like there's just trying to get a rise out of her. And meanwhile, Kavanaugh, she was just like, he was like, I like beer. Kavanaugh had to give an emotional reaction to show people that he was human and that this should not stand. He's not cold, meanwhile, Barrett cannot. She can't because she's a woman. So she's soon, and that's the hypocrisy of the Dems, right? It's because they're trying to get her on sexist shit. They're trying to get a rise out of her so they could be like, ooh, look, see? Because they're going to try to play that against the right? And be like, ooh, look, see? A woman who can't fucking control herself. But I don't know. She seems smart. So that's kind of fucking them up, And that's, at the very least, be smart. If you're a lizard person, please be smart. A lot of people are, Trump's not smart. He's smart enough to be president, right? It's just a fucking act. It's like the David Graeber thing I played, One side's the educated elite and the other side has to play the opposite foil. It's pro wrestling. It's it's babyface and heel. Dems have made themselves a babyface. Republicans are the heel. And what happened last election is that there were 2 heels. The babyfaces were so diluted, they ran a heel as a babyface. That's the thing. It's like people didn't like Hillary, and they ran her, and Hillary essentially is a villain to a lot of people, especially the racist retards that she turned against, those deplorables. They were the ones fucked by NAFTA, passed by her husband. Also, the drug war shit doesn't only affect black people. Tons of black people got put in jail for drug offenses because they are the majority, but it doesn't mean they're all of them. Tons of white people too. You got to arrest. There's not enough people. You got to arrest both black and white people and put them in jail in droves in order to have a nice little, slave, a slave workforce, right? Because there's all this slave labor in prison now, like Starbucks or the California firefighting, whatever the state firefighting people, they use prisoners, right? That's just seems to be okay. I guess that's not covered by the 14th Amendment to the Constitution, which is another thing they keep ramming her on. You're like, she's an originalist, and she's an originalist. And back in those days, a black man was 3/5 of a person. And back in those days, a white, non-white person or a woman couldn't vote. But but the Constitution in it says we can amend it. And then they did immediately. They amended the Constitution. So what the fuck are you guys talking about? It's amendable. That's the point. That's if you're an originalist, you can see that it's amendable. And that you would need to amend it to let some... See, I think part of the argument here is a slippery slope if you're an interpretationist. And yes, I understand the Constitution is a living document, it's constantly interpreted, and that's why there are amendments allowed. Okay? But if you're trying to bypass the amendments and say, oh, yeah, we should just say this is how the rule, this is what free speech means now, instead of back then, without an amendment, without maybe at least some Supreme Court trials, basically bypassing the courts in order to say what is free speech and what isn't. That to me sounds like the exact opposite of what the point of the Constitution was in the first place. That you could start legislating rights away. Congress shall make no law. Congress shall make no law. That's the whole check on the legislative. It's no, because you could just basically legislate rights away, and the whole contention is that you can't do that. I don't know, and so to me it seems like this is a flawed argument to be oh, the Constitution is malleable. And yeah, it is malleable in the fact that you can amend it and have Supreme Court cases interpreting it, but not through legislation, right? Or executive fiat power, but it's fucking president coming in and just being no, which is actually what has happened since 9/11. right? The NDAA, Obama fucking murdering somebody without due process overseas. That already happened with the executive. If the legislative falls, we're fucked. You get it? Anyways. Fascism. Yay. I mean, right? Oh, final thing is like they keep hammering Barrett about the Affordable Care Act, about healthcare. People need healthcare. There's a pandemic. Then why don't you give everybody Medicare for all? This is Jimmy Dore. God damn it, Jimmy Dore's already going to do this better than me. And this is why I didn't want to talk about politics, because everybody, goddamn, is talking about the same fucking thing. I don't want to be the same guy talking about the same shit. Denver shooting. That's not in the news. I don't think that's. I mean, I think that's only in the news because I'm in Denver, but I don't think nationally there's really a big deal about the guy that shot the Trump dude in Denver. I think because he's a Trump guy. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it seems kind of crazy. I mean, the more you look into it, the more I'm looking into it. It's like that dude straight up murdered that other guy. There's 72 photos came out in the Denver Post. That's like a frame by frame that like somebody was there at the right time and the right, a photographer just happened to be right there. And I'm not saying it's like a setup. Like, I'm not saying I'm just saying what a fucking shot. Just as a cameraman, just as a filmmaker, a cameraman myself, I'm just like, damn, what a shot. But he got the whole thing, and you can fucking see, all right, this Black Guns Matter guy is fucking agitating them all, fucking fighting. And then what's weird about that is that he's not a Black Guns Matter guy. He's obviously not, because I'm fucking down with Maj Toure, man. Fucking, he's cool. Eric July, Colin Noir. I love Black gun rights activists, okay? Because they're fucking smart, all right? And they make sense, all right? And they're not fucking, I'm just saying. And they're not usually not fucking repeating political talking points of one of the two major political parties. You know what I'm saying? Like, that to me is also kind of suspect. I don't care what side, Republican, Democrat. If you're like just repeating the shit they say to me, I'm just like, I don't know if you're thinking for yourself. It's hard for me to know. But these guys seem to be thinking for themselves. I mean, the same argument can be made as like, oh, well, they're just mouthing Mises and Rothbard or whatever. It's just like, okay, yeah, because the world is filled with Rothbardian like analysis, and everybody knows who Mises is. It has filled the entire academic. I mean, no, come on, it's pretty obscure. Okay, you gotta have to go out of your way to understand what those words even mean. I just said, okay. Besides my aunt, who is already struggling a little bit, this puts her to sleep. I hope she's sleeping well, and this gives her good dreams. Me ranting and raving about the state of the world. Anyways, fucking, if you look at the shooting, man, the dude, the quote unquote security guy, fucking reaches under the guy's jacket. It looks like he's fucking reaching for the other, because the other dude did have a gun. He had a gun and a can of mace in his hand, and everybody knew he had a can of mace because the Black Guns Matter guy was going, mace me, bro, mace me, mace me. And the guy, and the guy had the mace out because he felt threatened, and he's like, mace me, bro, mace me. So everybody in earshot, including, so the guy with the gun, knew he had mace, okay? But at one point, I think the cameraman gets too close while the guy who died, Keltner, I think his name is, and the Black Guns Matter guy are fighting. There's footage of him going, I don't want, get that fucking camera out of here. Get it back. And he pushes him, right? And at that point, the security guard intervenes, and it looks like what he's doing is reaching for the Keltner's gun under his vest. Look at the photos. Go to the Denver Post, okay? Look at the 72 photos. You could see clearly he's like reaching under his vest, right? Simultaneously, he's getting slapped by Keltner, okay? He's getting slapped. Now, you could be like, maybe he slapped him first, whatever. Maybe slapped him. But the Wolof, the shooter, is not withdrawing. I mean, he's advancing, and his hand is definitely under his vest, okay? And then he gets slapped. Then the order of events is Wolof starts reaching for, he has like a front-facing holster, which I guess is kind of like, I don't know. I guess it's not usual. I guess that's kind of like you've been trained or whatever. And fucking draws really fast on the guy. Boom, draws on him. Okay? The other dude's backing away. Okay? So Wolof is standing his ground. He's not backing, not retreating. The other guy is backing away, not reaching for his pistol, hand on his mace. A shot goes off. Okay, no, the spray goes off and a shot goes off. Spray goes off and a shot goes off. So it's, I guess it will be up to the jury to say, like, did he shoot because he felt the mace was going to hit him, even though the guy was withdrawing? Or what had he drawn first to shoot, even though the guy was withdrawing? So that's the whole thing about self-defense, right? Like, it has to be imminent danger, and the guy has to be coming towards you, right? And then you have to be fearing for your life. So it's very possible maybe he did fear for his life. I mean, it's very possible the shooter feared for his life after reaching under the guy's vest and feeling his gun and knowing he had a can of mace and was not reaching for his gun and decided to shoot him. I mean, that's the whole thing, is that you don't know what's in people's minds, but I don't think it's going to be cut and dry self-defense. That's going to be, I think it's going to go to trial as murder. And then the jury will decide, and then it could become like a political thing. So we'll see. Very interesting. Denver, of all places, right? Denver, it is a shooty town. I said it before. It's a shooty town. A lot of Korean teenagers died here because of ego and shootiness, and it's they be shooting here. So you just, I don't know. That's why you just shouldn't even just get into it. Just don't get into it with anybody, okay? Just fucking everybody chill. Everybody chill. I mean, that's not what the news is doing. That's not what the news is be like, everybody, but I'm surprised they're not. Maybe this is all over the news and I don't know. How do I know what's on the news? I barely know. I'm just on Twitter, basically. Anyways, I don't know. Am I, see, this is part of what will inevitably be used against me in the trial, the future, to see if I'm a radical racist or whatever. They're gonna come up with some name that people who don't think the right way are, and they're gonna group you with them for not careful. Everybody's like, oh, you're paranoid. That's good. Man, it happens. Countries all over the world. It happened in Korea. It happened in China. It happens all over. Okay, where the shit just crumbles. Okay. And look at Syria, everything just devolves, right? Whether it's civil war, whatever, it just crumbles. Very possible. I don't know if you want that. I mean, a lot of people do. I think a lot of people do, but have like this movie idea of what that is. You know what I mean? Because we're really spoiled here, and everything's movies, and everybody thinks they're a fucking Avenger, and everybody thinks they're gonna pull through, and everybody thinks they're gonna like make it through the apocalypse and live in some kind of Walking Dead reality where their hair is perfect, but they're killing zombies with ease and stuff, and it's just like, that's not gonna happen. We live in a fantasy world. We're all infantilized, we're Disney-fied. We're fucking, we're living in a fantasy world of entertainment, and we think that that's what the real world is. Meanwhile, we're inflicting real world damage around the world. I know. There goes again, 7 wars around the planet. We're talking about the 7 wars. Yes, because everybody else is talking about it all the time. All right. So, okay, look. Am I being radicalized by the right? No. I'm not right wing. I don't like the right, but I don't like the left either. I don't like what's happening. I don't like the being moralized to by. This is the type of person that's basically calling the shots and trying to dictate what reality is, right? I have a friend. Well, he's not a friend. Let's say I'm more friends with the wife, but the husband, okay, he's a friend too. Okay. I'll call him Pete. Okay, Pete. All right, Pete here. He's kind of a skinny guy. He's kind of a little guy. He's not a big, tall guy. He's a little guy. Pete is Ivy League educated. He went to Columbia for undergrad and grad school. Coincidentally, his dad is like the head of the environmental science or whatever. It's a climate change department. He's head of the climate change department, whatever that is, the professor of climate change. He's the head professor of climate change at Columbia. So Pete is his kid. And then Pete got into the only school Pete could get into was Columbia. Isn't that a coincidence? What a coincidence. Pete also lived rent-free in the Upper West Side because his parents had a apartment on the Upper West Side, and then he got to live all fucking 8-10 years of his schooling in Columbia, rent-free, Upper West Side. Pete. Pete believes he's a socialist of sorts. Pete believes he's perhaps Antifa, or at least he's sympathetic to Antifa, or he's like believes that the fascism is real and that a counter force needs to be there, violent, possibly. You need to meet violence with violence sometimes. It's the whole thing. It's like, you don't punch the fascists, they might fucking come and murder all of you. They might be out there trying to murder everybody. They want to murder everyone. That's his whole thing. He's also climate change. He believes in climate change. He's like, climate change is a coming. And I'm sure he would want commies to do commie things to climate change, right? They're talking about climate change lockdowns after the COVID lockdown, right? The COVID lockdown was just a way to get us used to lockdowns, and soon maybe they'll have climate change lockdowns where we're like, we'll reduce emissions by forcing everybody inside for 2 weeks or something. Like, let's destroy the economy again or whatever. Let's try to manipulate the market so that fucking, listen to me, fucking Austrian economist now. What am I, huh? Buy Bitcoin gold, you bitches. No, really though, he believes that the government should come in, just force everyone to act the correct way, and then that will be, that'll be fine. That's good. That's morally good. Russian Revolution, Stalin, Mao, that was good. Hitler, Mussolini, Franco, that was bad. Okay, that's the highly educated take, the hot take that comes from going to Columbia for 10 years. All right, and having your dad be the head professor of climate change. Meanwhile, Pete is procreating. He has a baby. Pete's baby is, of course, like every other baby, a little shitter, a little pisser. Do you know how many disposable diapers go into raising Pete's baby? Pete's precious baby. Pete's precious waste-creating, carbon fucking spewing baby. Sure, he's the son of professor of climate change, so I guess grandson of the head professor of climate change at Columbia University. Maybe he's special. His carbon footprint is special. It's like Jesus' footprint. It's just divine. You know what I'm saying? It's a special baby. How dare you even suggest that the waste created by the disposable diapers of our baby, just the disposable diapers of one baby throughout its lifetime, throughout the fucking first 2 years of its life. Imagine the pile that creates. It probably will fill an entire living room. You know what I mean? Probably would fill an entire homeless person's tent and then some. You know what I mean? It's probably, I'm okay. I went backwards with the analogies there because I should have gone from the tents to the living room. But you know what I'm saying? It's a shitload of diapers. Pun intended, motherfuckers. It's a shitload of diapers. You're creating that, and you're going to be like, climate change is shut the fuck up and raise your baby. Just shut up. And meanwhile, it's like, there's secret, there are secret fascists everywhere, and at any moment, the fascists could the uprising, I remember just being like, it seems to me, though, what you're talking about is just evil. It's not like the concrete thing you can point to and be like, this is the, because if you do that, then it's a slippery slope. I do it every episode. You go, oh, this is fascist. Then what about the wars? What about the robots that use the missiles to kill tribesmen in Yemen? Is that fascist? What about murdering people, with no due process? Is that fascist? What about fucking just Jim Crow? Is that fascist? You know what I mean? It's then it's. Your argument is now moot because you're just talking about all of history, right? Just all of history, and so in that way, it's kind of like good versus evil. Talking about evil, so you're talking about trying to root out evil. Is that what you're gonna do? I don't know, a certain man named Adolf Hitler, right? Like he thought he was rooting out evil. He thought the Jews were evil and evil that needed to be rooted out, and that's what he was doing. So he was good. That's sort of the problem. The idea of taking the moral position that you're good, absolutely. No matter what you do is good. That means you can commit the greatest evil in the name of good, and it's fine. Pretty fucked up. That's sort of the whole thing about religion, right? How you can get a good man to commit evil, in the name of God. You can do that. You can also do that in the name of fucking the state. And now it looks like in the name of race or whatever this sort of fictionalized mythology is of the world. That's what it feels like to me. I don't know. I mean, I didn't have it out, but this is a Hollywood liberal, Ivy League educated, coastal elite couple. You know what I'm saying? Talking to me about implicit bias. White people talking to me about implicit bias, telling me that there's racism out there, and I, just faking. You know what I mean? Just doing the kind of this. I guess that's to me. That would be racist, right? I guess they're proving their own point. Maybe they're right. Fuck, there is systemic racism. It's happening right now when you're telling me how to feel about racism. It's happening right now. Oh, holy shit. Oh my God. Implicit bias. She fucking, let's call her Betty. Betty, it fucking talks about implicit bias. Betty talks about this and that. And meanwhile, Betty claims that she's not white, and it's like, no, you're white. I mean, she says she's not white because she's, an immigrant, but no, you're white. You grew up here. You grew up in the Midwest. I mean, you grew up here. You're white. But she gets to claim, Middle Eastern or whatever. You just pick your fucking Central Asian, fucking Asian. I guess you could be Asian. She wants to be Asian. That's what it is. Oh, God damn it. God damn it. I mean, technically, she'd be right. Her family did come from the continent of Asia, and in that way, we are all Asian except for Africans. You know what I mean? Like we're it's just Africa and Asia. There's no Europe. There really is no Europe. Europeans are just really white Asians. Okay. Oh my God! You know who? Nick Fuentes. I would be canceled by the America First guy. White identity. How dare you say that about white identity? I don't know. Has Rojan been red pilled? Have I taken it? I'm not even big into pills. Anyways, I'm doing my best to not take a side. You know what I mean? I'm doing my best to not fucking mouth propaganda or things that I'm hearing on the news, or like having opinions that I don't feel like I've sort of gone through some rigor into coming to a conclusion with. And even then I'm like, fuck, this could change at any time, like I don't know everything. Shit could change any moment. That fucking I could see that the Denver shooter guy was in the riot, or at any moment I could see that Coney Barrett is really a handmaiden or whatever the fuck, like whatever. Everything could change. That's the whole thing. That's the flux, right? That is the fucking only constant. Death, taxes, and flux. Okay? And of course for Ben Franklin, flux. All right. So I don't know. I've been watching a lot of quote unquote right-wing media, right? Watched exposed the litter box to $1 Million Extreme. I had them watch made them watch World Peace. I was like, look at what your country's done. And whatever, man. Fucking a lot of people like Sam Hyde would be, he'd call you a fucking shank or a gook or whatever. All right, and I'd call him a fucking fat cracker. I don't know. Who gives a fuck? Who cares? I guess fat cracker is also what I could call Shane Gillis. Like a lot of fat crackers, but they're funny. I don't know. What do you want from me? I'm a 42-year-old man. I'm not gonna have the same sensibilities as these fucking 20-year-old kids. They grew up in a time after 9/11. They grew up in a time fucking mass surveillance, their heads are all, their brains are all mush, It's the internet. They all have email. They don't even know how to mail a letter. They don't even understand what the post office is about. And meanwhile, the news is going on about the post office. They have fucking, what the fuck is that? They don't know what that is. They just know Newman. They had Newman do a thing, but Newman's from the 90s. That's when they were born. None of these kids do not understand that we're all old millennials. You're old. You get it? They don't. That's the other thing. I feel like this sort of millennial left, fake, faux, democratic, leftist crowd, they're fucking, you're old, guys. You're old. I'm old. You're old. If I'm old, I'm older than you. You're fucking old as fuck, okay? You're old as fuck. I'm acting younger than you are, you fuckers, you dumb fucks. I know what the kids are doing on the TikTok. No, I don't know what they're doing. I decided to read the Wall Street Journal, as Nick Fuentes would agree that I should, because I'm Asian and I know how to make money. That's what he might say. Ha 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 ha. I don't know. Listen, world peace, okay? World peace. It's not. It's just conservative sketch comedy. Come on. It's so dumb. This is a fucking thing. It's like, okay, Tim Pool, who Pete, by the way, is for some reason really hates Tim Pool. And I think it's because like he would be like that. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like you can't hate anything unless you see yourself in it. And I think he wants to be that for the left. He wants to be Destiny. That's what it is. He wants to be Destiny, and he doesn't even know who Destiny is, because he's, fucking, he reads the New York Times and the New Yorker, and that's all, like, so he has no idea who Destiny is unless there's an article about him in there. But that's who he is. He's like dumb Destiny. Anyways, Pete. Really ragging on Pete here, man. If I could name this thing about Pete, I don't know. Anyways, right-wing media, yeah. I listened to the fucking Trump interview on Rush Limbaugh just to see if he was all fucked up, because everybody is saying he's fucked up from COVID and all the drugs, right? The dude seemed fine. I mean, the only fucked up thing was he fucking said fuck. He's like, they fuck with us. He's talking about Iran. He's like, they know if they fuck with us, we're gonna fuck them right back. Like, that was pretty fun. That was funny. I don't know. That was hilarious. Most hilarious way to get into World War III. Okay, at least we got that. At least I got that going for us, right? That's like it's the whole thing. It's a big club. We ain't in it, guys. Just like George Carlin said, it's a big fucking club, and we ain't in it. So yeah, I don't know. So I've been listening to these right-wing media figures just to see what the hubbub is, just to see if they're really are they really racist? Are they really Nazis? Just because Pete. Okay, I'm gonna take Pete up. I'm gonna take him up on what he's saying. Are they crypto-fascists? Maybe they are. Maybe they're fucking starting a crypto-fascist revolution. Let's check it out. Okay? So I listened to, Tim Pool. And he's just like a Vice guy who got so pissed off he's going to vote for Trump. But he's still he's still conventional. I don't know. He's not saying anything crazy. He's just taking up a niche that's sort of everybody's talking about anti-Trump. So he's kind of being pro-Trump, whatever, fucking, and not even in a totally pro-Trump way, honestly. He's really just disaffected liberal. That's how I would, and I guess I can see actually why Pete would hate him, because that's what, because that's the whole thing of that, how, like, you don't hate the other side as much as you do the side of yours that you feel betrayed by, right? Like, just in the same way that in the South, a lot of white people were hanged, a lot of white people were hanged and lynched, right? For fucking, being N-word lovers, for being fucking, for just fucking, taking the other side, because that nobody is more hated than the people on your side. That kind of goes the other way, right? Nobody is more hated than that, because they're seen as traitors, right? The other side is like, they're the enemy. That makes sense. But to become a traitor, that's even worse, right? Both sides should find that in contempt. That's why Pete hates Tim Pool. Man, if I can put it together. Then, watch some Milo again. And Milo he's just a fucking conservative that's gay. That is funny and gay, and then can get away with shit because he's funny and gay. I'm really not a crypto fascist at all. I don't know. I've watched enough of him to be like, okay, he's in fact, he's kind of like not that far. He's not far right at all. He's kind of center right. I mean, he's kind of like a Reagan Republican. It's kind of boring. I'm actually kind of disappointed in the guy. He's kind of a super traditionalist. He's like, I mean, it's kind of boring. And then Nick Fuentes, because everybody's like, Nick Fuentes is a Nazi. He's a fucking Nazi. Started listening to this guy, and okay, sure, he's got some things. He questions the aid to Israel. He questions the authority of the Holocaust. He doesn't deny the Holocaust. He just questions why you can't ever say anything about it. It's no different than what's going on in the litter box. Trust me. It's not like, but all in all, he's a virgin. He's a 22-year-old virgin who believes in marriage. He's a Catholic. He believes in, maybe the races shouldn't, maybe interracial, maybe it isn't the best interracial. I don't know. I've done tons of interracial dating, and now I'm with a Korean woman, and it's the longest, happiest relationship I've been with in my entire life. But am I a Nazi? Am I a Nazi for saying that? Am I a Nazi? I mean, it works, okay? It did work. Culture thing, it did work. And Pete and Betty, sure, Betty's an immigrant, but they share a heritage. You know which one. See, even that, now I'm a Nazi. Now I can't do that. Now I'm a Nazi. Now I'm a Nazi. I grew up with them. Oh my God. All right. I grew up with them, okay? I went to the bar mitzvahs. I went to their seders, and I also have an Asian fetish. All right? Because I grew up with them. Do they control everything? I don't know. I mean, is one the head professor of climate change at Columbia University? Yeah, but hey, that's not about that. Okay, not about that, Pete. Here's the thing about Pete. Pete was like, one day I'd like to be stronger. He's kind of a skinny guy, little bird boy. Pete. He's kind of a skinny guy, and he was like, oh, whatever, I'd like to be stronger. And I was like, well, you should just start lifting. Fucking lift weights. It helps. And he was like, I tried lifting weights once, but it was too hard. And I think I was aghast. Mouth agape. Aghast. I couldn't believe it. I was like, what? What the fuck? You think why would you even say you want to why wouldn't you just be like, I'm a weak bitch? I know. Like, I would have more respect for him if he said that. Anyways, that's the person who feels like he's fighting the fascist takeover of America somehow on Twitter. That's the person who thinks he's fighting climate change by having a baby that's going to shit out a fucking whole tent city's worth of diapers. You know what I'm saying? That's the guy, right? That's the guy who says he's a socialist but never worked a day in his life, lived rent-free most of his adult life. Well, and by work, it's barely work. He's not working. Basically coasted on privilege, his white privilege that is trying to fight, that he claims is there everywhere. And that is why, I don't know. Maybe I've been red-pilled, guys. Maybe I've been red-pilled. I don't know. I don't believe in the pills either. Some people have said I'm black-pilled, meaning I'm like a nihilist, and I think, I know the truth, but I'm like, it should all go to hell. No, and you know what? That's not true either, man. People think I'm a cynic. I'm actually very optimistic, okay? If you get to know me, you would actually be surprised at how optimistic I am about people and how many chances I give them. I actually probably shouldn't do that, but I do, okay? I'm optimistic. Why am I even doing this podcast? 20 people listen to this thing, and I still keep doing it. I've been doing it since 2014, and I'm still doing it. 6 years. I don't care. I'm still doing it. And I'm doing it for you guys, because I appreciate you guys listening out there. Shout out to all my listeners. Fucking, Koji, Han, Basil. Fucking shout out to, I know there's more. God damn it. I always do this. This happens. Caleb, I know you're out there. Fucking, God damn it. I know Sam might be listening. I don't know. My aunt. That's probably the core audience there. No, there's more. I swear to God, there's more. I'm sorry I'm blanking out on your names. I really shouldn't, because there's like a few. I'm so sorry. I'm a self-absorbed maniac. I'm sorry. You know what? I really do appreciate everybody listening. Longtime listeners, new listeners. I don't give a fuck. Thank you so much for listening. Follow me on the Twitters and the Instagrams and the YouTubes, and find me on Spotify, Google, Apple, all that shit, Stitcher, all the platforms. Thank you so much for listening.